folks said I could go anywhere, but they'd pay for it if I went to Baylor. They both graduated from Baylor in the early 60s. One class that I took that I wasn't a fan of, and I didn't really understand why they were making me take it, is an ethics class. A couple years after I graduated, I was traveling with DC Talk, and I was their tour accountant. They played Waco Hall. They promoted out of Dallas, and he kind of grabbed me and said, hey, let's go settle. And I was like, well, just give me the receipts, I'll plug them in. And he goes, no. How are we gonna settle this? I think he said, how are we gonna settle this kid? And I just kind of looked at him, and I realized, oh, he wants to kind of cook the books a little bit. And no lie, I'm looking at him, and over his shoulder, I can see Hankamer School of Business. And it was like, here's the moment that Baylor was preparing me for that I couldn't see coming.
When I came to Baylor in 1978, back in the dark ages, I grew up at a Baptist church, and I thought there were really only two options to kind of have a missional vocation, and that was to be a preacher and a missionary, and decided neither one of those were for me, and realized that I could just really help facilitate other people that had a calling. And so that's really what moved me into the music side. Someone said I had to have an internship to have a degree. At the time, Word Records, which was the largest Christian record company, I was in Waco, and they said they had an opening, so I went and did radio promotion because I had experience, and did that for about 6 months. And ultimately, from that point forward, basically, I've been involved in Christian music, and that's really what got me started.
One of the first artists that I managed was Audio Adrenaline. We booked a show with the student activities director, and she said, hey, I've got this local act that I'd like to open. We had a couple bad experiences with that where, the local act shows up and it's just, it's horrible. And so I told her, man, I just don't see that working. And I kind of caught the vibe that, maybe, she was kind of laying down a little bit of a gauntlet. And I said, are you going to cancel Audio Adrenaline if I won't let this band open? And she goes, I don't want to have to say that. And I was like, oh, well, why didn't you say that from the get-go? Show started, I heard them crank it up around 7, and so I walked up there and kind of got up there around their second song and walked to the back, and I was going to lean over and tell the activities director lady, I told you so. I got back there and I was blown away. And so afterwards we chatted backstage, and I gave him my card and put my cell number on it. For about the first year, Bart called me about once a month with questions. Second year was about once a week. Third year was about once a day. That's whenever they wrote Imagine and labels got interested. That's when Jeff Moseley came around and heard the song, and he offered him a deal, and the band's like, I guess we need a manager, and you're the only guy that we know. And so
I was on the phone with my wife and said, I really would like for you to pray for me about whether I should work with some new artists, because I'm really kind of confused about the subject. And while I was on the phone with her, the phone rang, and I picked up the other line, and a guy said, this is Bart Millard of a band called MercyMe. I have a song called I Can Only Imagine, and that's how it all started. At the time, I'd put my house in my wife's name, because I thought if the company flopped, at least I'll have my house. And I took the song home and said, I think we need to take a second out on the house, because I think this really is a pearl of great price. She listened to the song, she agreed with me, and we felt like it was so important we were really willing to risk almost everything we had for the song. I really met Scott once I found the MercyMe guys. They came to me and said, hey, we'd like for you to talk to this guy that we've been talking to for a long time that we think is going to manage us, Scott Brickell. And that's really the first time we spent time. And so we really met over negotiating the MercyMe deal. So we have been walking together with the band as a management company with Scott and with a booking agent for 18 years together, which is very unusual.
I've had several artists with Jeff over the years, and just always loved working with him. And I mean, he's not the only label that our artists work with, but he's definitely one that we take a hard look at before we shop too hard with some other labels. I definitely wasn't, Jake, you got to go to Baylor. I mean, I gave him the freedom to pick any school he wanted, and, we visited quite a lot of schools. He was a football player in high school. They won state his junior year. After meeting a lot of coaches, he really liked Coach Rule. I know the education he's getting there is going to set him up to win throughout life. And, just like me, with that ethics class, Baylor knows more than he does about what he needs to learn.
I'm very happy that my kids went to Baylor. For my daughter and for my son, I'm very happy. I tried very hard not to push them. I just know the experience I had, and yeah, I think that, for me, everybody has a theology of life. Even if you say you have no theology, you have a theology, and that is to have no theology. So I think it's really important that as men and women that we know what we're doing, and most of all, we know why we're doing it. At Baylor, I think I developed a theology for my life, and that was a missional vocation, that it's possible to pursue your passions in a way that is vocational, that'll provide a living for your family, and frankly, impact lives.